The biggest mistake guys make when looking to make themselves more attractive to women is that they often do it through the lens of the male gaze rather than the female gaze. I recently saw this tweet on my timeline, and it sparked an interesting thought in my head. How can women be so enamored with tall, jacked, masculine guys, but at the same time, swarms of women are also attracted to members of BTS? In that way, the tweet is not wrong. What women are attracted to has huge variance, and the biggest mistake we make as guys is to try to distill it down to a science when it's anything but that. In this video, we're going to take a deep dive into the female gaze versus the male gaze. Part 1. The female gaze at its core is story-driven. There's a reason why the best-selling books year after year are romance novels, and the biggest consumers of them are women. There's also a reason why the fanfic community is almost exclusively women writing about fictional characters. It's the same reason why artists and musicians throughout history have been loved by women. They tell a story with their creativity. You also tell a story every time you walk out of the door. You just don't realize it. The way you dress,
Oh my god, I'm freaking out.
your choice of hair,
What do you think is the best hairstyle a guy can have?
Fluffy middle part. Yeah.
High fade.
If you have a mullet, it's good.
Kind of the Patrick Dempsey look.
the way you walk, the way you look away instantly if you meet eye contact,
A student and you love design, so you're basically a match made in heaven, right, guys?
Interest, yeah.
your body language. These all tell a story and women pick up on it. Part 2. Looks matter. This is not at all to say that women don't like or prefer a handsome guy. A nice jawline, slight facial hair, height, a lean physique, darker features, and a mix of masculine and feminine features. If you wanted to create a guy that appeals to the most amount of women worldwide, he'd probably look something like Michael Morone from the movie 365 Days. But even when it comes to looks, there's a huge variance in types. Make him a bit more feminine and you have Zayn Malik. Make him more masculine and you have Giga Chad. But remember, this is just ideals. As a guy yourself, if your type is tall blondes, it doesn't mean you wouldn't go for a short brunette. Part 3. The Black Pill Antidote. For some reason, when men hear of women's ideals of being tall, fit, and rich, it makes them feel down on themselves and hopeless. I've always repeated that the biggest cure for being black-pilled is spending an hour in any busy downtown square and observing couples. Here's what you'll see through a male gaze. Average guys with average girls, average guys with beautiful girls. This is because women don't view male attractiveness as a purely physical equation.
Why do I love this kind of man? And a lot of other women do too. They are super confident. They're secure. They're self-validating. They don't need you to like them. They don't need to be the center of attention. Last but not least, they're mysterious.
As men, we put so much emphasis on physical attractiveness that it's the only thing we compare when we see a couple. Your humor, voice, smell, charisma, kindness, skills, potential, how you treat her, others, animals, kids, your love language, nature, empathy, and so many other things dictate how attractive you are through the female gaze. Part 4. The female gaze is like Play-Doh. Here's what I mean by this. If a girl is not attracted to a guy at first glance, the physical attraction can still grow a ton once she knows him even a little bit better. This is very common. A majority of men fall into the "yeah, he's alright" category. As they get to know him, he can either plummet into "I would never" or elevate into "he's really hot."
Pete has got to be literally the best human being I've ever met.
This is a bit hard to understand for a lot of guys, because when we see a beautiful girl at first glance, we can fall in love and imagine our life together in a house on a prairie with 4 kids. Part 5. Relative versus absolute. Now let's talk about 3 things that absolutely pertain to the female gaze: height, income, and status. We've all heard the phrase 6 figures, 6 feet, and a 6-pack. All of these things are appealing, but here's where most guys are getting it wrong. When girls say they want a taller guy, this is a relative term. It means they want a guy that's taller than them. Same for income and status. Statistically, most couples in these categories have the following thing in common. The man is only a few inches taller than the woman. The man makes slightly more money.
What would you want his income to be? If you're gonna be a stay-at-home mom, what kind of range would his income be?
I think for me to be comfortable, like staying at home and not working, like 300,000.
Anywhere from 70 to 100K.
Probably 150 to $250,000 a year.
And you would contribute also 50-50,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
You'd be willing to do up to 50.
Yeah, absolutely.
Status is hard to calculate, but we can assume this is probably true too. And let's be honest, pretty much every guy lies about their height, which has majorly skewed people's perception of what 6 feet or 6 inches actually looks like. So as long as you're a bit taller and make a bit more money, you're going to be alright. Part 6. Wide appeal versus niche maxing. There's this really corny saying that I love. It goes like this: you can be the ripest, juiciest peach in the world, and there's still going to be somebody who hates peaches. And this is very true. A lot of men's content on improving attractiveness can sometimes feel like needing to appeal to as many people as possible. Some traits can be universal. It's never bad to have nice skin and to keep fit. But trying to appeal to as many people as possible is basically like trying to be the McDonald's of men. Instead, be French cuisine. Find your niche and thrive in that arena. If you're a fitness guy and into bodybuilding, that's great. You're going to go for a certain look, and the people you end up attracting will be fitness girls. Historically, most people end up partnered with people that are into their relative class and ethnic group. But with how connected we are now due to technology, our tribe has expanded and very much includes niche interests and subcultures. So remember, don't be McDonald's, be French cuisine. Part 7. The Tinder Dilemma. We've talked a lot about the female gaze and the different ways men can be attractive. But when it comes down to it, most people are meeting through dating apps, and none of those things can be determined from a profile on a dating app. This is why dating apps are such an unnatural way of meeting people, and why both men and women seem to hate using them. Swiping on a man and woman generator is a completely unnatural way to approach dating, so it's no shock that unnatural selection habits form from it, and why you see lopsided Tinder experiments where most men will swipe right on an anamorph picture of a pig because they're so desperate for attention. Until someone invents a better way of connecting people, you can still set up an amazing profile of yourself that tells a story and puts you in the most attractive light possible. Part 8. Why women like bad boys. Lastly, I want to talk about why I believe certain traits and types are deemed more attractive than others through the female gaze. Bad boys are attractive not because they're criminals or dangerous, but because of the traits that they represent. They're typically confident, social, and stand up for themselves and the people around them. Girls like a guy that sets boundaries and doesn't let her steamroll him. Being a pushover and having no spine is perhaps the most unattractive qualities in a man, and a bad boy represents the exact opposite of this archetype. It's the actual traits behind the label and what they represent that are actually attractive. Same with being rich. It's nice to date someone wealthy, but it's the qualities behind acquiring wealth that are actually attractive. Hard work, determination, leadership, and creativity. It's the same reason women will date a starving artist if they believe he has potential. I wanted to make this video for one main reason. A lot of men are deriving their self-worth from the validation of being attractive to women, and they try to live up to impossible standards, or in some aspects, standards that they can never reach. There is nothing wrong with trying to become more attractive, but seeing both perspectives on each side will give you a fuller picture and let your true self shine through. Thanks for watching.